Hi guys. Don't know if anyone is going to join my live because I have not advertised this anywhere. First of all, for those that do not know me, my name is Tracie Nicole. I am an intuitive life purpose coach, a quantum energy alchemist, a medium, and most of all, I am a passionate advocate for abuse survivors, especially those that have experienced and survived childhood abuse. That's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, psychological, financial, any of those ways. I'm also an advocate for interpersonal relationship abuse. That's domestic violence, partner violence, interpersonal relationships. And I'm also an advocate for survivors of military sexual trauma. I'm an advocate because I have experienced and obviously survived all of those experiences. In case you can't tell, I'm super nervous. I am very nervous. This this live video launches my podcast that I've titled My Trauma Healed Life. And this is the inaugural episode, my very first one. And it is titled The End of Self-Betrayal. I've been in a transformation for about the last 3 years now. It started well before that, but definitely the last 3 years. I've been in a very intense, fast-paced transformation. And it has taken me through healing and continual healing all the way back to my conception. Today, or tonight rather, I want to talk a little bit first about self-betrayal. I am a follower of someone on Facebook called the Holistic Psychologist, and they had a post and I want to share it. Thank you, Nashonda, thank you. I'm trying. I want to share something that I found from the Holistic Psychologist. It says, our core needs at birth are to be seen, heard, and uniquely expressed as our authentic self. We are born to humans with their own unresolved trauma. When our parents have unresolved trauma, they are deeply disconnected to themselves. Their core belief is, I am not worthy. Something is inherently wrong with me. This becomes unconsciously projected onto children. Children are highly perceptive. In an attempt to be loved and survive, we learn as children that parts of us are bad. This message either comes directly, as an example, you're selfish, just like your father. Or indirectly, for example, when you don't perform or achieve, and a parent withdraws their affection and attention. We are taught to betray ourselves. Love plus self-betrayal becomes part of our conditioning. It's a protection mechanism, a survival instinct. We don't trust ourselves or our own word. Reparenting is the practice of being our own wise, loving parent. It's the practice of self-care, creating new habits, patterns, behaviors through conscious awareness. And it ends with a question that says, how do you reparent yourself? Hashtag self-healers. My story goes back, like I said, to conception. Before I go into my personal story, I want to tell you why I'm doing this, my intentions. My intentions for sharing my story is, number one, to continue on my healing journey and to break free from the trauma that self-betrayal has caused me. I'm also doing it, speaking on this, because my voice has been silenced my entire life in one way, shape, or another. I've been trying for a while to really get my story out for a while. And I recently had some impromptu encouragements from individuals that had no idea that I was planning my YouTube channel, even though I'm not on YouTube right now, I'm on Facebook, but this will be loaded to my channel. They had no idea that I was planning this. And the last piece of inspiration that I received was someone thanking me. It's a friend who doesn't necessarily know all of my story, but knows a few bits and pieces and has, I guess, seen my journey over the last several years. And this friend informed me that I was a source of inspiration to them in them watching me and some of the things that or experiences that I have shared or whatever. And the thing that that friend told me was that they really understood. And that friend looked me in my eye and said, I get it. I'm going through things that I cannot speak about. I can't voice it. And that gave me the encouragement even more to speak Because there are so many voiceless people in this world. Children who cannot speak for themselves, who cannot speak up. They have people lying on them. They have people betraying them. They have people manipulating them. And this stuff carries on into adulthood. I'm one of those children. I was born into a lie. All my life growing up, my father had told me how I was a planned baby with him and my mother, who were married at the time. That I was planned. And I'd heard that from some of my other family members, that I was a planned baby. I was planned because my mother was in nursing school. They were trying to plan to have me like during her, like right after she graduated, but before she would start, working. I came a little early. I want to say, I think I was about 3 weeks early, something like that. Anyway, grew up knowing and hearing that I was a planned baby. You'd think a planned baby is wanted. I was wanted, but only by one parent. And unfortunately, the parent that carried me was not that parent that wanted me. Thank you, sis. I love you too. My mother informed me when I was 27 years old, during what we called a counseling session with just the two of us, where I was trying to talk to my mother about things that I'd experienced in my life growing up. And I actually asked her to help me get some mental health assistance. And she suggested that we talk. That she could help me. She played on my deep desire to have a relationship with my mother in which we could be open and honest and talk with each other. She played on that. Okay. We sat down at a restaurant. And like I said, I was 27 years old. And she looked me in my eyes and told me that she had never wanted me. That she had not wanted a baby when she conceived me and gave birth to me. She didn't tell my father. She laid down, did the do to conceive me, and held that secret to herself that she really did not want a child. So I was born into a lie. Betrayed upon birth. That was in me, in my energy. Unfortunately, my parents divorced. Well, I don't know if it's up to them whether it was fortunate or unfortunate. Unfortunate for me. My parents divorced when I was 2. Being an adult now, and even though I say I'm forever 25, I'm actually 48 years old. Been through plenty of relationships, been married and divorced. And so I understand as an adult that it's always, well, it's at least 2 sides to a story, to a breakup, to a divorce. My father's statements to me, they got divorced because my mother was allowing her mother to heavily interfere in their relationship. And she chose that relationship over over their marriage. That's according to my father. According to my mother, it was because he cheated. It happens. There's a particular person that my mother blamed for that interference. The other woman, of course she blamed my dad, but there was the other woman. My mother made choices to take out her anger, her hurt, her disappointment, her feelings. She made a choice to take them out on me. Listen, I've been in a relationship where I had a child where that child's father cheated on me. And I did not choose to take it out on my son. So I know another choice could have been made. But it wasn't. And that choice to take out her anger, frustrations, trauma, everything on me, and intentionally, notice the subject, the title of my life is My Trauma Healed Life. I ended up experiencing suffering abuse my entire childhood, all the way through adulthood, literally all the way up until damn near last year. Last year I decided to free myself from my mother, my biological mother. I love her. I hate the shit she did to me and that she allowed others to do to me. I have empathy to understand that she was traumatized as a child. Heavy trauma. And so I know where it came from. And then I also know that she didn't have to do the things that she did. And she didn't have to allow the things that she allowed. But it was not just her, maybe I should say, I will not just hold her accountable. I hold my dad accountable. We've had those discussions. We've worked through that. But there's another person that I hold accountable. The other woman. The other woman that my mother blames for the dissolving of her marriage to my father. I'm holding her accountable today. This person, I'm holding her accountable because almost 30 years after that situation, after the cheating and everything, because that was back in the 70s, almost 30 years later, she sought out my father and they got married. When they got married, I didn't know that this was the same woman that had a hand in breaking up my parents' marriage. No one told me, and I now know that quite a few people knew. Okay. I found out 3 years into their marriage. And I found out because she told me. By this time, I had come to love her. This hurts, y'all, because I loved her. She and I had developed a relationship that I was not able to have with my biological mother. We talked all the time. When I moved to Chicago to pursue doctoral school, she had a going away party at her home for me with my friends that came over, cooking, all these kinds of things. Like we had developed a relationship, one in which I confided in her. And guess who I talked to her about? My biological mother. I shared my hurts, my pains, my traumas. I shared them with her. And 3 years into their marriage, for some reason, she decides she wants to tell me. We go to, I didn't even know that she was planning to tell me something. We went to a store together and we pulled up into the parking lot. She parked. She said she wanted to talk to me. And at that point, she told me about how she had an affair with my father when he was married to my mother. I still didn't realize that she was the same person that my mother blamed. But because I just didn't know that. And this is like 2013. So she has the conversation with me. You know, she talks about how, you know, she knew what she did was wrong, you know, things of that nature. But during that conversation, there was a hint of trying to blame my father. I let it go. I let it slide past me. And to be quite honest, I was in a situation where I was now loving a person that was literally letting me know in that moment that they had betrayed me. Now, people can be like, oh, well, you was an adult when they got married. Who cares? Yada, yada, yada. Baby, you don't know my life. But she did. And yes, my father should have told me to. Been there, done that. Like that worked out. I continued on to have what I considered a very good relationship with my stepmother. You know, she asked for forgiveness. Okay. I mean, I wasn't the one you cheated on. But, oh, you know, okay. I wish y'all had said something to me sooner, but would that have changed anything? I don't know. Like, hey, they're grown. Moving forward, skipping past a whole lot of stuff. Just trying to give a little background here. Moving forward, in 2017, June 23rd to be exact, my best friend in the whole wide world left this physical presence. My grandmother, my dad's mother. She was the woman who kept me from 2 months old up to the age of 8 years old. She kept me while my parents worked. When my parents got divorced, my dad went to the military, and my mother was nursing, and my grandma Cozy. She gave me a foundation of love that I didn't know that I was gonna need. My grandmother for years, my grandmother and I talked every day. We talked about so many things. I mean, we had an amazing relationship. She was so non-judgmental of me. Could tell her anything. My stepmother knew that I had a good relationship with my grandmother. She knew the relationship that I had. There was times where my stepmother would call me and say, hey, I haven't talked to mama in a couple days. I know you have. Everything good? Yeah. My stepmother knew the relationship that we had. Now, my grandmother had 3 children, and her daughter passed a year before she did. So it was my dad and his brother remaining. I'm the oldest grandchild. The first of my grandma Cosey's grandchildren. At the time that she passed, certain items of hers were handed over to me. Basically, she was a woman, I'm a woman. Jewelry, things of that nature. That was what was discussed. When I got with the rest of my cousins, said, guys, what do you want? Is there anything of hers that you want? Because she had a lot of stuff. Oh my God. Unfortunately, Grandma Cousin was a bit of a hoarder. She had a lot of stuff. They got what they wanted, and they said, whatever you do with the rest is whatever you do with it. I put all of her belongings into, well, actually, most of her belongings were already in a storage. We put the rest of her things into a storage. I took over the payment of the storage. I paid the storage for a year. Never went into it for a year. However, before putting things into the storage, I was looking for some things. I was looking for actually just one ring of my grandmother's. Couldn't find it. I asked my stepmother, where are the rings? Do you know where they are? Have you seen them? And I'm telling you, I was asking her that probably on June 24th of 2017, because I actually wanted to put it on my grandmother's finger to bury her in it. For 6 years, 6 years, 6 years, my stepmother lied to me. She had the ring and a few more with it. She has 6 rings, to be exact. She knew where they were, and she did not tell me. Not only did she not tell me, but over 6 years, she antagonized me. And how I say she antagonized me, because if you call me up on the phone and we're having a conversation and you say to me, Tracy, have you found your grandmother's rings, and you know that you got them, you're antagonizing me. She was there to comfort me when I was crying about it. And I'm not a materialistic person. I'm a sentimental person. I got on an earring of my grandmother's right now. Could only find the one. It's a C for cozy. I'm sentimental. We had some things go on the last year or so. We, meaning my stepmother and I, as far as our relationship, because she interfered in my marriage behind my back without me knowing, siding with my abuser. That was going on. We were trying to work through that situation. And then last year, the end of August, And I want to say it was August 23rd. I was on my way. In a couple weeks I was headed out of the country. And my father said, I want you to come to the house and stay those couple weeks until you leave, till it's time for you to leave to go out of the country. Because I was going to be gone a while. I don't think my stepmother really wanted me there. I feel energy. And I read very well. That's my daddy. Mine. And I'm his only child. So I went. First night I'm there, I'm standing in front of my stepmom and I'm talking to her, and I have on a ring. It's a costume ring that was my grandmother's that I wore. She looked at the ring and she said, it's a nice ring. Is that one of your mother's rings? One of mama's rings? One of your grandma's rings? And I was like, I took a beat before I responded. And I actually took a couple steps backwards so I could really read that energy. And everything inside of me said, stay calm. So when I answered, I said, yeah, this is one of the rings from Grandma Cozy. It's, costume jewelry. And my stepmother looks at me and she goes, I have some of Mama's rings. I'm going to go look and see which one I want to give to you. Excuse me? Took everything in me to control myself on that night, because she tried the hell out of me intentionally, because I'm fiery, and she's heard me get mad and yell and scream and bang my hand on a table. Yeah, I've been loud a lot of times in my life because my voice had been stifled so much. But she tried the hell out of me. And I could have chopped her head off with my hand. Because for 6 years, you lied to me. You watched me grieve and cry and go through storage. And I'm talking about a big storage that took me like 2 weeks to go through. Found everything except for those. My grandmother had actually given them to her for safekeeping. Safekeeping. Not for her to inherit. Baby. No, not gonna go there. Let me bring it back down. Let me bring it back down. I ain't even gonna lie, y'all. I'm still hurting about this. Not that she kept the rings, not that she had the rings, the way that she lied, the way she antagonized me, the way she manipulated me. And for 6 years, I'm carrying on in this relationship with her like she loved me. She didn't love me. She wanted me to go off that night. So then she could be like, see, that's why I didn't want her here. Yeah. I figured that out. Well, needless to say, I was still there. I didn't go off. I didn't do anything but turn around and walk out. I held my peace for a while, for some months, because of the transition I was going through, and my dad and I relationship was very fragile at that time because of her. So I held my peace. She couldn't hold hers though. She had once told me years back that she was nice nasty. Nice nasty. She gave me a few examples. I kind of laughed. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't quite get it. She was very accurate. Because she played nice all that time. And yet, in the background, being so nasty to me, asking me, have you found the rings yet? Have you found the rings yet? Have you found the rings yet? Oh my goodness, I don't know I don't know. This for 6 years. While you smiling in my face, giving me hugs, kiss me on the cheek, calling me endearing names. I was endearing to her was number 3 because she had 2 daughters that were older than me. Okay. So I held my peace all the way until March. March of this year. Held my peace from August to March of this year. When I felt better able to handle the situation and had a little bit more stability in my life. Because like I said, I was going through a heavy transformation. And I still am. In March, little situations happened where, she just really couldn't hold her peace towards me anymore. She was definitely nice nasty to me. My hair's still blue, ma'am. Yeah. And I don't care who like it. I like it. Just little ridicules. Not being accepting of things. Saying she's going to be at the house to see me. And then, suddenly she forgot about a party that she had to go to. But then I caught her calling my dad, and he just happened to have it on speakerphone. Nastiness. Tracy still there? Really? But I'm waiting on you. We've been waiting for 2 hours because you said you wanted to see me. But you lied, you didn't. You wanted my dad to think that you wanted to see me. Okay. When I finally addressed this situation, I actually called them on video. Them meaning my father and the stepmother. And I wanted to know a few things because there have been quite a few things of just this real manipulative stuff in the background. Okay. Just a lot of manipulative things in the background. So I call them up because I want to talk. I want them to see me and I want to see them and I want them together so that there's no, she said this, going talking to my dad. No, everybody can hear everything that I have to say. And I'm going to keep it real because I'm honest. I tell the truth. I don't lie to myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't heal. I asked the question. Asked a couple of questions about some other stuff. Too long to go into those other stories. Asked the question about why was she doing a certain thing behind my back. And the nasty response that I got literally set me off. And I went in. I went in by going off. But every word that I spoke was the truth. Even the names that I called her. And yeah, I called her names. The reason why I'm getting on here and saying this today is because this very person then hurried up and went running all over town telling different people that I was causing a problem in her marriage and accusing me of breaking it up. How's that for calling the kettle black? Is that the saying? Because she expected my father to defend her. Innocent people need defending. Not liars, not manipulators, not thieves. This method of going and telling people their version of the story, which was all lies, didn't tell why I went off and called you names. Didn't tell that part. Didn't tell that part. Only told the part that made me look bad. Made me look like a disrespectful child. Honey, I'm almost 50. When I heard the stuff at first, I wanted to go to those people and say something, but I was so afraid. I was afraid to go and tell my truth. One, because I wasn't running out there trying to tell the whole world. Only people I tried to have a conversation with was my two older sisters. Because I am accountable and wanted to be accountable for letting them know that I went off on your mama. And this is why. But they were instructed not to speak to me. Then you go running telling other people who I'm going to make sure they get a link to this video. Go running telling other people all these horrible things as though I've just so wronged you. But did you tell people that you stole the inheritance from my grandmother and lied about it? Did you tell them that part? Because most of the people that you told, that I'm aware that you told and lied to on me, honey, they've known me my entire life. They just met you 13 years ago. They've been my dad's friends for over 30 years. So they knew his mother. Did you tell them that you lied, that you stole, that you manipulated, that you psychologically abused, that you emotionally abused me. Did you tell them that? I'm sure she didn't, because the word on the street is these folks is mad at me. Be mad. Be mad. That's a personal problem. Any of you could have came and talked to me and asked me a question, but you just went and believed the first thing that you heard. And did you even consider, these people have known the relationship and seen the relationship that I've had with my stepmother. I just threw a birthday party with my dad in January for a birthday. The relationship that would appear to be out there was definitely not an indication that I would curse her out. Yeah, I cursed her out. Now, self-betrayal. One of the biggest symptoms of self-betrayal is not speaking up for yourself. And so today, that's what I'm doing. I'm speaking up for myself for a change. I am speaking up for myself. When you go through life being manipulated, lied to, lied on, your voice stifled, every time you try to tell the truth about anything, they come back and say, oh, she lied, this is that, this is this, this is that, and you stop talking, you stop telling people. And it turns and goes inside. And for me, it was eating me up. And I tried my best. I tried my best to let it go, to forgive, to move on. Because guess what? Hey, we got the rings now. Okay, cool. But that's 6 years. 6 years lying to me and deceiving me and manipulating me. And then to top it all off, then you go and lie to family and friends. Yeah, you did that because you had learned that Tracie did not speak up for herself. You've seen me for many years damaging myself, all kinds of things, not being able to speak my truth. You saw what betrayal had done to me. You sat back like, let me get all this good information so when the time comes, I can do this too. Because Tracie Nicole is not going to say nothing to nobody. She ain't going to go and call nobody and say this. She ain't going to go call nobody and say that. You're right. But I bet you didn't think I would get on live. I didn't think I would get on live. But my ancestors said today, self-betrayal ends because you got a mission and you cannot fulfill that mission if you don't speak up for yourself and tell the truth. It doesn't matter if anybody believes me. I don't care. I'm doing this for me. And I'm doing it for the other people who've been voiceless, who've been lied on, manipulated, lied on some more. I'm doing it for us. Self-betrayal. One of the things that I learned in healing was when I look at another person and something with them is bothering me and causing me issues, that's because I'm seeing that thing in them that's really also in me. So I'm like, she betrayed me. She betrayed me. This is my own self-talk. Finally, I realized, baby, you betraying yourself too. You betraying yourself when you don't speak up for yourself. So I set myself free by telling the truth, by sharing my truth. I want to share some things additionally, because this ain't about getting on here and telling business and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not. But it is about standing up for myself. It is about voicing my voice. And it is about helping others. So on that note, I have a few things that I want to tell you. Just a few things I found about self-betrayal. Self-betrayal is a learned coping mechanism from childhood, where we had to do the following to receive love from a parent: deny our own reality, neglect our own needs, find validation through a false role we play, deny or limit any and all boundaries. The next thing that I want to share with you before I leave, before I hop off of here, because my heart is beating fast. I halfway don't even know what the heck I've said, because I was terrified before pressing that live button. Had a whole breakdown over here. Self-betrayal. I put everyone's needs before my own, and I often feel resentment. The healing part of that is self-choosing. So the self-choosing statement says, I work to understand my needs and place clear boundaries. Self-betrayal says, I stay small, hide my truth, and people please. Self-choosing says, I work to authentically express even if it means being misunderstood. Self-betrayal says, I don't trust my own word. Self-choosing says, I keep promises to myself, and I'm gonna add on to that. Self-choosing says, I trust myself. Self-choosing says, I trust my intuition. Self-choosing says, I know when I'm telling the truth, even when other people are saying that I'm lying. Self-betrayal says, my worth comes from how people perceive me. Self-choosing says, my worth is inherent and does not need to be proven. Self-betrayal says, I seek to be fixed, or I seek to be fixed or rescued, or I seek to fix or rescue another. Self-choosing says, I have relationships that are safe spaces for mutual evolution. On that note, this again has been the inaugural episode for my podcast. Maybe tomorrow you can head over to YouTube and you can look up my Trauma Healed Life, where this video will be posted. And I will continue voicing my voice and being a voice for the voiceless and being an advocate for those of us who have experienced and survived abuse and are healing through it. No matter what anybody has ever done to you, no matter what anybody ever does to you, I implore you to remember one thing: to love yourself unconditionally, no matter who and no matter what. Speaking up for yourself and ending self-betrayal is one of the finest acts and expressions of self-love. I forgive you, stepmother. And I forgive the people that listened to your lies and didn't bother to even talk to me. I love myself unconditionally, no matter who, no matter what. I love you all to life and light. Thank you for your comments. I'm gonna have to go back and read them. But I see the loves, the hearts, and I sure enough appreciate the support. Good night.